Welcome back, everybody, to the Power of Story podcast. If you are tuned in on Thrive After Sports, thank you for being there as well, folks. We got a very special guest in the building. Recently connected with this man. Very excited for you to hear his story today and for him to be sharing his wisdom with us. Mr. Andre Howe, welcome to the show, sir.
How you doing? Thanks for having me.
Man, it's a pleasure to have you here. Just a little bit of backstory. I hosted a panel through University of Florida. This was probably like a month ago at this point. And Andre was on there. I was hosting a panel. I had never met Andre before. But as we started chopping it up and I started hearing his story, I'm like, for sure, I got to bring him to Thrive After Sports. For sure, I got to bring him to the Power of Story so we can hear all the advice, all the wisdom this man has. I'm going to get out the way, Andre. Can you just introduce yourself to the people and give everyone a little bit of background about who you are?
Okay, cool. Well, I'm Andre Howe, from Port Island, Louisiana, small city right outside Baton Rouge. I grew up there all my life. Pretty much all my family lived there. Pretty much, I got a big family. All my family still lives in Louisiana, pretty much. Went to Vanderbilt University for 4 years. Played football there. Had a good career. Then got drafted by Houston Texans in the 7th round. Played for the Houston Texans for 5 years, and then I retired. And now I'm just doing some real estate stuff, and I'm back at school getting an MBA. So that's what I'm doing now.
Man, that's great, man. You've been able to, we're gonna take a deep dive on this, but one of the things that I heard immediately is like you've been able to carve out a great lane for yourself. A lot of people say, "Hey, I want to get into real estate. I want to do this. I want to do that," but you're actually doing it. Setting the example. So, can you just talk a little bit about what the transition was like? Number one, like the last time you stepped off the football field and everything that happened from there. Did you have a difficult transition process, or do you feel like you had a smooth landing?
I think it was pretty smooth, but I had some bumps in the road though. Going to a school like Vanderbilt, it kind of taught me how to like kind of be a better student athlete. So I had to really I had to go to class at Vanderbilt. I couldn't just like mess around and, like just not do my work and like just kind of just slide through school. I really had to go to school, like really had to learn stuff. So I think they really helped in the long run because once I retired, I kind of jumped right into something new and it really helped me out because, like I said, I had the ability to say, okay, I can do something else. I can do something else. I am more than football, so I was able to kind of jump into something real quick and kind of get something going for myself. I got a real estate license real quick and sold a house to one of my well, we friends, but he works for my agency, so that's how I met him, and I sold him a house for him, and then I bought a couple houses for myself. Like I do rental property, so I bought a couple houses for myself and rented those out and doing pretty good with those. Got an Airbnb also, and that's working pretty good for me also. But yeah, man, I think just going to Vanderbilt really helped me kind of elevate myself. Just not think that I was just a football player because a lot of guys think that because you play football, you think that's all you ever want to do is play football. But I was still kind of like that, but I had like a little bit more motivation to kind of do more. I went to Vanderbilt, so I had kind of a bigger chip on my shoulder to kind of do more with myself.
Man, okay. I want to be selfish for a second for the Thrive After Sports listeners because I don't even know if I've shared this with you. I probably should have told you this beforehand. But really, for the past 3-4 years, I've been coaching athletes who are transitioning mostly out of college because I feel like that's where they need the most support.
Yeah, definitely.
I talk to a lot of guys, man, not just guys, but men and women, former athletes who say, I want to get into real estate, and obviously, of course, there's a great upside financially to get into real estate, which obviously you've been executing on that part. But I think sometimes people get in it only for the money, right? And obviously that's a huge part of it. But it seems like you just naturally were able to kind of know this is a good lane for me to stay in because of how you're wired as a person. So I think it would be helpful, man. Can you just share like how did you know? Because I can tell just by hearing you break it down, it's not just about money. Like you actually enjoy the process and the game of real estate.
Yeah.
So how did you know that was the lane that you wanted to get into when you were done?
First of all, my mom was real big on real estate. Like even when I was a kid, like she kind of talked about real estate a lot with me. Like trying to teach me how to do the stuff, trying to teach me how you can make money doing it and how you can just make a living doing it. So after football, I was like, okay, well, I think real estate is the next thing I want to do. Because like I said, my mom kind of really instilled it into me when I was a kid that real estate was a good pathway to go. So after retirement, I got right into it, man. I went to a good school, Champion Real Estate School, and they really taught me how to really maneuver through the real estate market and all that stuff. So it really helped me out a lot.
And if I'm, for anyone listening who's just getting started, like I said, a lot of people, man, oh, I want to get into real estate. Like, what is the first thing, the first advice you would give someone who knows nothing about the industry, but they know they want to get into it? What advice can you give to them on that front?
Learn, man, learn it, bro. Cause like it's so much to real estate that you don't really realize how much it is to real estate until you really get into real estate and you realize how much really into it. So once I started going to school and stuff, I'm like, man, I didn't know we were this much into real estate. And like, it really blew my mind how much was into real estate. And, it takes a minute to kind of get it going because like it's so much to it that you got to really learn the stuff so you can kind of be good at it. Because you don't want to do real estate and not just don't know what you're doing. So you got to really know what you're doing so you can kind of be so you can be real good at it.
Mm, man, and shout out to mom for putting you on game with real estate early, man.
Well, she did it real early.
That's a beautiful thing. How did you did you ever have a moment when you were, I guess that window before, well, you say you kind of went directly into real estate, but did you ever have a moment where you're like, man, I'm struggling to figure out who Andre is outside of the jersey, or man, I missed the game. Did you ever have any of those kind of challenges?
Yeah, definitely. When I first retired, like it was cool when I first retired because I didn't like when I retired, I didn't really want to play anymore. So I had all the football out of me. Like I didn't want to play anymore. So I thought, okay, I'm good. I don't need football right now. So it was cool for me at that moment. But like probably a couple months later, I kind of started missing it. Like that's all I've ever done before in my life, play football. So that's all I ever did. So I kind of started missing. Like, damn, what I need to kind of get into something so I can kind of get my mind off of it. So I went to real estate school. That helped a lot. And after real estate school, it kind of came back again about football. Then so I want to get in my MBA. So that kind of took my mind off football a little bit too. And then I'm just getting better and better every week, getting better and better. Like just not thinking about football as much because I'm trying to like do other things, kind of get my mind off football.
Got you. What other things are you up to these days? I know you do a lot more than just real estate, but what
Yeah.
other kind of things are you working on? Talk to me about some of that, man.
Yeah. Well, like I said, I'm back in school getting my MBA at University of Houston. I'm doing that. I wrote a book. I'm writing a book. It's pretty much finished now, waiting on it to come out. So they helped me a lot too, kind of getting my mind off football, kind of doing other things. And, I work out a lot. I still work out a lot. I keep myself in shape. I try to eat pretty good. Do a lot of yoga, a lot of meditation, stuff like that to kind of keep my mind going, keep my mind like focused on what I need to do with myself. And that's about it, man.
Mm. One of the biggest things I'm hearing, man, is just that self-care, like taking care of yourself, not
Yeah.
just physically, of course, as athletes, former athletes, we all know how to take care of ourselves physically. And it's not everybody maintains it. So first of all, props to you for actually maintaining it and staying in shape. We all know people who get out of shape when they're done playing, man, but you're maintaining that. But more importantly, you're maintaining the mental side of it. You're making sure you're on point mentally. Um, what advice could you give to, these are conversations I have all the time, man. Let's say I just graduated from college, I'm done playing ball, or maybe I just finished my professional contract and I don't even know where to get started. Like what do I even do? Like what advice can you give to people who are in that state right now?
Well, to be honest, man, I'm still kind of going through that right now. I'm still trying to figure out what I want to do with this NBA and all that stuff. But I think you just gotta like sit down and realize that football was like your first career, like just something that you did like in your beginning of your life. So like now it's like your real life is about to start. So now you gotta really like focus on what you want to do and like just think, just sit down and think about what you want to do and like think that really help you to just sit around and think about what you want to do.
Mm. And then I want to talk to you about your MBA too. I think you might have told me this offline, but what do you have any plans on what you want to do with that? Is it to enhance the real estate side, or is it to like kind of branch out into some other things?
I think it's kind of both. To enhance the real estate side, and kind of just branch off to other things too. Because like I said, I've been playing football all my life, so I really don't know really what to do. But I'm trying to use this NBA to kind of figure out different paths to go and paths that like just taking all different classes, kind of realize like what I like to do, what I don't like to do, so I can kind of figure out what I want to do when I'm done with this NBA.
Got you, got you. And I know we were talking before I hit record that definitely want to have you back on the show once the book is coming out, or at least when it's ready for pre-orders, so we can get you on Author Spotlight. But what can people expect from the book? I know you can't give too much away, but what's a little bit of a little glimpse into the book?
Really just about my life and what I've been through and what I went through and how I overcame things and how I use my family, I use my friends, I use my ability to kind of get me where I wanted to go. So it's pretty much that kind of stuff.
And who would you say the book is for? Like, who are you writing it to? Like, is the book to like young Andre? Is it to the youth? Is it kind of to everybody at all stages?
It's kind of for everybody, man. Like I said, I think it can help a lot of people just from just the stuff I've been through. I think it really helped a lot of people just seeing me going through the stuff and me talking about me going through the stuff. I think it really will help many people out.
I got you. And I know that, you just mentioned a couple of times, like you're in the stage where you're carving out a lane for yourself in real estate. You get in the NBA, you're trying to come up with that clear picture. But when you think about like the legacy, like what kind of legacy do you want people to, you know what I mean, to know you as? How do you want to be remembered? Not, I mean, you got years left on this planet, brother. I'm not trying to put that on you. I'm saying, like, when it's all said and done, what is Andre Howe want to be known for creating and doing in this world?
I want to be known for definitely being a hard worker and definitely finding my way in this life and trying to and help people out. Definitely, I really want to help people out and try to get them to where they want to go. Also, but really, I just want to have a like my life really just want to be like a model, like an example for people to kind of follow to kind of get to where they want to go.
Okay. Something else I wanted to get to ask you, man, is like, obviously you played with a lot of guys over the years. What do you see is like the biggest thing with former athletes or athletes who are kind of trying to find out the next steps? Like, what do you think is kind of the biggest obstacle to get through when you're trying to be like, okay, I'm no longer playing ball, whatever my sport is? What is the biggest obstacle you see the athletes that we have to overcome?
The biggest obstacle I think is really just finding yourself, man. Finding what you're good at, what you're good at, what you can do. And like I said, we play football all our life. Like to make it to the NFL, you gotta play football for a long time. Like I've been playing football since I was like 6 years old. So that was all in my mind since I was 6 years old. Like just make it in the NFL, make it in the NFL. I know a lot of guys did that, but they didn't make it. So like those guys had probably had even worse because they didn't have that time to like make it in the NFL. So like they probably really had to like jump right into like their life. So I still had like a couple years before I had to do that, but I'm still trying to figure out how to kind of get to that point in my life to where I'm like, okay, this is what I want to do, this is what I am going to do. So I'm still trying to figure out how to kind of move through that part of my life also.
Yeah, and it sounds like, because you're being proactive with it too, because I think about myself, man, and people who listen to my podcast, they've heard me share this before. I didn't play professionally, but when I came home from college, I was lost because I'm like you said, man, I don't know. I just been playing football all my life, so I don't really know what I'm doing, where I'm going. But one thing I see, and one thing that you shared earlier, is that you're being intentional about it. Like, all right, I'm not just gonna sit around and be like, oh, woe is me. Like, I'm gonna get into motion. And then you're also being intentional about finding clarity. So while you're in the process of trying to be like, okay, I'm not 100% sure yet, but I'm actively trying to figure it out. What are some of the things that help you start to come up with that clear picture for where you ultimately want to go?
Let me see. I think just wanting to be better, just wanting to better myself, just want to be somebody, just want to be more than football. Like that's my main goal. To like kind of say, okay, football is what I did, but this is what I do now. Like football was who I was back then, but now I'm a whole new person now. I think that was my motivation to kind of start figuring out what I want to do at that moment.
Got you. Yeah, man. I think I just want to open it up right now. Just, we have a lot of people who listen to the Power of Story who are aspiring entrepreneurs or current entrepreneurs, and they just want to hear stories of other great people like themselves who've gone on to do great things. We have a lot of people who listen to Thrive After Sports that like they're either lost or they're in a good place, and they just want to hear stories of people like you, athletes who've gone on to start to do great things. As we start to close out a little bit, man, what advice can you give just to anyone on the line who maybe is struggling right now or just needs that extra like push or burst of encouragement for something that they may be dealing with right now?
Yeah, definitely. I think they should just really like start looking into themselves and figure out what they like to do and what they don't like to do. Like try to figure out who you are. Like figure out who you are, but outside of your sport. Because we spend so much time inside our sport that we start feeling like that's who we were. That's who we're gonna be. But like it's not. You're not like that. Like this life is way bigger than sports. Like you can't just rely on sports all your life. Like you get older, you lose your speed, you lose your strength. Like you can't play football all your life or you play sports all your life. So you gotta figure out what else that you like to do, what else that you interested in. Like you said, like you've been interested in football all your life, so now you're trying to find something that's new for you, like that you can kind of fall into, that you can kind of walk into and like you feel comfortable doing it.
Man, great advice right there, man. Great advice. Please, man, tell the people, what they need to look out for, how they can get in touch with you, how they can follow your journey. Like I said, we'll have you back on once it comes time for the book to come out. But in the meantime, how can I get in touch and follow what you're up to, man?
Well, my Instagram is DreHow29. My Twitter, DreHow29. You can follow me on Instagram, follow me on Twitter. Like I said, my book coming out, so you definitely get the book, kind of read more about me. What else? I live in Houston, Texas, so if you ever in Houston, holla at me.
Man, I was just in Texas, not Texas, Houston. I just moved to Austin from San Diego, so I'm in Austin now. But I was just in Houston a couple weeks ago. Next time I'm out there, I'll definitely link you up, man. We can go to Papa Do's or something.
Yeah, hit me up.
Out of respect.
Definitely.
Out of respect. Well, ladies and gentlemen, this has been another great episode of the Power of Story podcast and Thrive After Sports with the man himself, Mr. Andre Howe. Please go follow this man, tune in with this man, keep up with everything he's doing, keep an eye out for that book. Thank you guys for being here. Andre, thank you for your time and for pouring into our listeners. And we'll see you guys on the very next episode. Peace.
Thank you.